Big thanks to Masterbuilt for sponsoring this video.
Just when I wanted to start grilling my steak, I realized I have a problem. Look at my beautiful steak. It's absolutely freaking gorgeous. This is one of the nicest steaks I had in a long time, and I'm really excited to cook this steak. I want to do the reverse sear technique on my beautiful Masterbuilt smoker. But I got a problem, because with that technique is a requirement, and that's causing a problem for this steak. In itself, this steak is not the problem. We got beautiful T-bone steak. And you know when it's a T-bone, when you got a bone that looks like a T. On one side you have the New York strip. On the other side you have the loin. And this one is special because this is an Australian wagyu BMS 12 steak. Long story short, it's a delicious steak with a great amount of intramuscular fat that just melts away when you cook it, which means you're gonna have a tasty steak and a juicy steak. So you see, nothing wrong with the steak, but the problem arises when you start cooking. And before I show you what I mean, I'm gonna make the PitmasterX fresh spice mix. I'll start by chopping fine 15 grams of fresh parsley, followed by 15 grams of fresh thyme, for which I'm going to pluck the leaves first. And when the top breaks off, you know that's the fresh part, and you can keep it when you chop it up. These are 3 fresh garlic cloves, which means you can chop the skin up as well. I'm gonna follow that up by grating fine a whole yellow onion, half a tablespoon of finishing salt, half a teaspoon of fresh ground pepper, followed by half a cup or 125 milliliters of olive oil. And of course, I've written down that recipe for you on our website PitmasterX.com. The link is down below. Normally I would season my steak afterwards with some finishing salt, but now I'm going to marinate it with this PitmasterX fresh spice mix. Now that's going to add so much flavor to this steak, and the reason that I'm choosing to do that instead of just seasoning afterwards with some salt is because I'm going to smoke my steak. And smoking will allow me to add more flavor and enhance the flavors of this steak even more with this delicious fresh spice mix. I'm going to let this steak marinate while Morrison thinks we're going to fire up the barbecue, but I'm going to do something really different. I'm going to undress for you.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. No,
I got a surprise. Young Gouda.
That's your rapper name.
Zach Bryant commented on a video a couple of weeks ago. And he said, do you realize that if PitmasterX would have been a rapper, his name would have probably been Young Gouda. So I just thought that was too funny and I printed out a t-shirt. So if I've ever become a rapper, Zach, that's gonna be my rapper name. I'm not as strong as the average rapper, but there she is. My beauty, my carry around smoker. I wouldn't rap on stage. I would just rap on a campground. With friends and family, barbecuing, that's the only way to do it. Oh, yeah, never mind. We're getting sidetracked here. The barbecue is now up to a temperature of 120 degrees smoking temperature. I'm just gonna clean up the grill grate and place in my steak. And this will be the first part of the process of cooking this beautiful steak with the reverse sear method. I'm gonna stick in the thermometer so I can keep my eye on the temperature. I'm gonna close the lid and let this smoke until it reaches a core temperature of 50 degrees Celsius. In the meantime, you and me are going to make a butter. And the cool thing about butter is you can mix it with anything that you love. If you love bacon, you make bacon butter. And I'm going to show you one of my other favorites. One's bacon, of course. The other one is beef jerky. This is homemade beef jerky. We got a beautiful recipe for this on our website, so go check that out if you want to make this at home. And then I'm going to take my beef jerky, put it in my blender, lock it up and grind it up. And with a couple of pulses, it looks like this. I'm going to transfer this to a bowl. This is around 75 grams of beef jerky, and I'm going to mix that with 125 grams of butter. I'm going to add half a teaspoon of finishing salt, half a teaspoon of ground pepper, and then Young Gouda mixing it up, getting into the mix. I must admit I don't use one of these frequently, but I saw this and it was €5. So I don't know how long this is going to last, but the reason that I'm using this, because there's the thought behind it, it will make the butter fluffy. There's also going to be these little bubbles of air in the butter that's just going to make it really light and fluffy and creamy when it melts. Well, you'll see what that looks like. There we go, mix it up. Whoa, low setting, dude. Look at all that beautiful, delicious butter. Wow, look at that steak. Perfectly cooked, ready to take it off. Don't waste any time or your steak will overcook. Now, of course, I cooked it to 50 degrees Celsius perfectly to make sure that it doesn't overcook. And if you could just smell this steak, it smells of smoke. Even though it's wet and moist on the outside, there's little bits of red smoke flavor that just caught onto this steak and will make it taste freaking amazing. For now, this step is finished, smoking step. I'm gonna put this steak on the cutting board and let it rest. Because for those who don't know, the reverse sear method is smoking your steak until you have the desired temperature, then let it rest and make sure that the temperature doesn't rise any further, and when it's stable, you can start searing it off. So, there we get to the next part, searing this steak. Now let me show you that this is the moment my troubles begin. Because my smoker has this. Yes,
What?
that.
What?
That's a grill grate. And that is a grill grate that is made super light so you can travel easy with your barbecue. But it also means this grill grate is only 2 millimeters thick. Well, maybe 3. But a 3 millimeter thick grill grate will never ever preserve or retain any heat. Especially not when I put a big thick steak on it. It will just absorb the heat from the grill grate instantly and disappear. And that's kind of a problem because I got the perfect steak, I got it perfectly seasoned. Now I need the perfect sear. So I gotta figure out a way to fix that. First thing that I'm gonna do is get this barbecue up to the highest temperature that it can reach. It's either gonna be fun and exciting,
or it's going to be disastrous.
I'm going to load it up with a little bit more charcoal, and then I'm going to turn the knob and set it to the highest setting. I'm going to close the lid, open up the back vent, and then wait and see how high we can get the temperature in this barbecue. All right, the barbecue is now, well, it's underway, but it's getting to a point where it's so hot, and even the lid doesn't do that justice, the thermometer on the lid. It is so hot. I'm standing here, I'm getting hot at the moment. Oh, I'm already hot. I'm just opening it up. Look at the grill grate. Smoke is just popping off of it. This thing is seriously hot. Now, I still have a problem because even though this is seriously hot, it's still not going to give me that sear mark that I'm looking for, just because of the thickness. Normally, my favorite way to cook steaks is just with a thick cast iron grill grate over charcoal, and that's always giving me the best amount of flavor. Or maybe like a stainless steel, but really thick grill grate. Now, I came up with a solution to the problem, and hopefully it works, because this, ow, ouch, look, that's hot. Gotta cool it properly. See, rappers don't cry. Real rappers, especially like me, I melt like Gouda. But this is my tip to everyone ever getting burn marks. It's okay to get burned. It's part of the process. Don't play with the fire. But the way to solve the problem when you do get burned is just stick it on a cold water straight away and just let the tap run like really lightly, like a light stream like that. That is more than enough. And keep it under there for around 10 minutes or so, and then you won't feel a thing anymore. And then you got a cool barbecue to show for it. And just like, I could have like a full sleeve. I think I'll survive. Show must go on. Our steak is waiting for us, and how do you know your grill is hot? When flames are shooting out of the firebox, like voluntarily from all places. So without further ado, we heated up the skottsberg pan while I was cooling my arm. Now we're gonna be grilling that steak. Normally I would go like this. Today that's all over. I'm just gonna stand on the side here. I'm gonna remove the lid from the skottsberg pan. Whoa, look at that. It's smoking hot. And if you just listen, that is one hot pan. I think I want a little bit more oil in the pan. And this skottsberg pan is a really thick cast iron pan, so it will retain a lot of heat. Needs a little bit of moisture, but there we go. Stand back. Sizzling steak on the barbecue, and remember, it's already cooked, so all we need is a crust. So a good sear is what I need. Been around 30 seconds, let's check. And you see we got a beautiful instant brown crust. You might think, why all that fuss about getting a crust on a steak like this? I could have eaten it as it was, wouldn't have gotten burned. the troubles would have been over, but the crust is the magical part on a steak. If you got a good crust, it's like putting your signature on a steak. Otherwise, it just might as well been sous vide steak. Look at that. That is a beautiful crust. Let's flip it around, do the same thing on the other side. And that's why you always need a cast iron skillet with a barbecue like this. It's just gonna save your day. Just imagine you're taking out this barbecue with some batteries in it into the pasture, like you're somewhere camping, hiking in the mountains, and you're smoking your steak, and all of a sudden you think, wow, I would love the sear of this steak. And that's the cool thing about a cast iron pan, and you want to make sure you get one of these beautiful thick ones. It's going to save the day every time, and you cook anything in it. I'm glad my day was saved. And look at my tattoo, it's worth it. We're fighting for delicious food. That is one beautiful looking steak. My problem is solved. I smoked my steak, I let it rest, and then I seared off my steak. I found a problem, I found a solution and a problem, but I found a solution to my problem. And that's what barbecue is about. Building up skills over time, making it better each time you barbecue, and then working your way down to perfection. Now, without further ado, let's slice into this steak. There we go. That's why you gotta love the reverse sear method. It just makes the perfect steak. And I like my steak, well, a little bit on the rare side, 50 degrees Celsius, and then knowing it might shoot up to 51 or maybe 52, and that's the exact point I want to stop. With the reverse sear method and that wagyu, I'm getting absolute perfection. Now, oh no, I almost forgot the butter. Let's put a little bit of the butter on. There we go. And melt it down. It's like I haven't learned anything from...
Why?
I'm a little slow. Let's burn that butter down. Look at that. Make that beef jerky even more tasty. Melting the butter. Oh. Well, now we can give this a try. I hate to say it, but if I have to get burned every day and afterwards I get a meal like this, I'll just get burned every day. And of course you can find this recipe amongst many others on our website PitmasterX.com. We've written it all down for you, worked it out to every detail so it's easy to follow with clear instructions. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed all the goodness that is coming to you, even if it means if you're getting hurt.